edition of the Joe Six-Pack Podcast on a Wednesday night. And we have a guest tonight. And when we're finished talking racing with our guest, we'll do the regular weekly update for the Joe Six-Pack Racing League. Just to remind you, Joe Six-Pack Podcast is live on Twitch TV/Greg Dreiss on Wednesdays. It's up there for 2 weeks. And then for later listening, you can download it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor.com, Shoutcast, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, and YouTube. And we have a guest tonight, was one of the first ones to reach out to us when we casted a net for guests on the podcast. And we're basically doing 2 to 3 podcasts a week, and we're booked through the end of the year. If you're interested and want to get out on the iRacing world or the sim world and get your word out there about your league, give me a holler and we'll schedule a session right here on the Joe Six-Pack Podcast. And with that in mind, I'd like to introduce Josh Van Maanen, and he's from the Apex Auto Glass Sprint Car Championship, which is presented by B&B Racing Simulators. Josh, good evening. How you doing? Josh, you got me there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yep. I just had to turn a few buttons up there to get the volume up. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
So far so good. Like we were talking before we went on the air, it's you said you had a little stressful week in your 2 leagues, and we were chatting how we've got 3 seasons of ours ending in 3 leagues, and we're planning 2 new ones starting in January, and recruiting for 5 leagues starting in a couple weeks. So tell me a little about your history in racing. When did you get interested in racing? What was the first fast car you drove, or what would be your dream car if you didn't drive a fast one?
Sure. Well, I've kind of been into some form of racing my entire life. My dad is an auto mechanic, and he works for GM. He's always been a GM mechanic. So naturally, growing up, we were big Dale Earnhardt house, big NASCAR fans. But then, so when I was born, I lived in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, cool.
And we would go to, it wasn't really local because I remember now, I mean, this is from the time I'm 6 to like 9. So my memory is a little hazy. But I remember we would have to drive for a little while, but it was Erie Speedway in Erie, Colorado, just outside of Denver.
Gotcha.
And it was a paved figure 8 track.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of the weirdest thing I've ever seen, because generally a figure 8 track's going to be dirt, but this one was a paved figure 8 track.
That's pretty cool.
And they kind of raced everything from, pavement modifieds to like run what you brung, to they'd have fun nights where they'd race the 3-car trains. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I remember doing that. And then we moved to Iowa when I was 12. We moved about 30 minutes north of Knoxville.
Oh, gotcha.
And so my dad started getting tickets to Knoxville. We started going racing there, and I have been a sprint car fan ever since the first time I laid eyes on one.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, going to some of the tracks around Iowa, like Boone and Marshalltown, and seeing the modifieds, and the Des Moines, the Iowa State Fairgrounds had a half-mile track for the longest time.
Yep.
And they ran late models and dirt trucks and stuff. And that's kind of how I fell in love with dirt racing. But I haven't really driven a fast car. I had a 1994 Pontiac Sunbird that I took over 100 mile an hour a couple times when I was 16, but no real world speed, unfortunately. But the dream car is definitely a 410 sprint car.
Excellent.
And I always joke around that if I were to get in one, I'd either be too scared to actually go anywhere and I'd just idle around the track, or I'd just send it and ramp the gas and sit the thing right on its tail tank first time I went.
Those cars they're insane. They are crazy cars to drive, and you've got to have a certain fear, or either scared of everything, or like you said, no fear at all to drive those, correct?
Yes. Yeah. It is. besides a Formula One car, a 410 Sprint has the highest power to weight ratio. And
That's
it's below those two cars. I don't think it's close.
wow. I'm not an expert on the. I always have to ask my son, what's the difference between a 310 and a 410 and a big block and a small block? So I just love to watch. Just love to watch things go fast. Um, so when you're in Colorado, did you ever go up to Estes Park?
We did. We
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
in Denver on a business trip once, and because I was in a buyer for a big garden center company here in New York, so we got to go. I think I've been in 39 states on different business trips and such like that. And I went up to Estes Park, and it was pretty close. I want to say it was Octoberish, and my plan was I had an extra day, so I rented a car, drove up through Boulder, up to Estes Park,
Mm-hmm.
and then up to Rocky Mountain National Park. And
Oh, sure.
of course, the elk was standing right in the road blocking traffic, and all the park rangers were like, "Oh, this guy again." So funny because you get all us tourists are out there taking pictures, and then the national park people are like, "We see this guy 12 times a day. Just go away." So
The key to something like that is you always want to make sure you have an out of state license plate.
okay,
Yeah. So like whenever like family come to visit me here in Iowa, I'll always drive their car. I've got an out
ah,
of state license plate. I can do whatever I want. People just assume I don't know where the hell I'm going.
yep. And I had thrown a suitcase in the car because my plan was to drive through Rocky Mountain Park up there to the other side. I don't know, it was some 80 miles one way. And then I get up there to the park, and, you pay the admission, you go in, absolutely gorgeous. You're up there at what, 12, 13,000 feet.
Yep.
And I look at the sign and it says road closes in 3 days for the season. And I'm like, oh, seasonal road. So I said to one of the rangers, I forget the name of the town, but I had already planned on going there for a hotel and then coming back to catch my plane a couple days later. I said, I'm from New York. What are the chances that if it closes in 3 days, it might snow tonight? And he says, probably 50-50. I says, all right, if I get stuck in town X over there, how long a trip is it to get back to Denver going the long way? And he said, I don't know, umpteen hundred miles or something like that. I said, no, I'm going back to Denver tonight. Didn't want
Yep.
to, didn't want to take the
Yeah,
chance.
it's living in Iowa, and I think every state kind of says it. Um, they say, "Oh, if you don't like the weather in Iowa or you don't like the weather in Missouri, just wait 30 minutes; it'll change." No,
Yeah.
there is no weather crazier than Denver, Colorado weather,
Yeah.
or just that region.
Yep.
Like there is, I don't know if you made it up I-70 to go through the Eisenhower Tunnel, which is, I think it's the tunnel's like 8 or 9 miles long
Nope. I didn't get
through
that
the
far.
mountains, but you
Wow.
can go into on the west side on the mountainside
Yep.
in a blizzard and come out of it and it'll be 70 degrees and sunny, or vice versa. You can go
Yeah.
into the tunnel and it be 70 and come out and it'll be pouring down rain.
Yep. And then I was in Colorado Springs once, and I don't think we didn't go up to, oh, what's the mountain in Colorado Springs? Pikes Peak?
Pikes
Yeah.
Peak.
And we were talking about um maybe going up there, but it was, I think, 60 where we were, and it was 22 on the top of Pikes Peak. I said, "No, I'm going to stay down here." So we went to
Yes.
we went to the Garden of the Gods instead, which
Oh
was
yeah, still
really
beautiful.
cool.
Still
Oh,
beautiful.
it is. It was amazing. So when did you get started in iRacing?
I've been on not that long actually, probably like right at a year right now.
Ah, another COVID baby, huh?
No, so yes and no.
Okay.
So I happened to just join during COVID.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But I have always been into, this is kind of a long story, so I'll try and keep the Cliff Notes version going. But I have always been into competitive gaming
Oh, cool.
for some time.
Yeah.
And before last year, I was really big into MLB The Show. Um, I was a top 50, 100
No
player at
kidding.
their Ultimate Team mode and did pretty good. And I streamed on Twitch for about 2 years. Did that whole content creation thing with
Yeah.
it, and and I was fairly popular, and I did pretty well. Like I never made Twitch partner or anything, but
Yeah.
I'd average 30, 40, 50 viewers in my heyday, and
Yeah.
the game as like a competitive thing, and it just wasn't good. Like if you wanted to play competitively, and if you wanted it to play, like not a lot of random number generator stuff, and
Yep.
it kept getting worse and worse. And finally, during MLB The Show night, no, it was 20 MLB The Show 20.
Yep.
I was on stream and I was playing and I was starting to get frustrated, and something happened. I can't even really remember what, but I looked at my stream, I looked my camera dead in the face, and I said, "That's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore."
Oh,
And
no
I
kidding.
shut the stream off,
Wow.
and I shut my PlayStation off, and I have not even turned my PlayStation back on
No
since
kidding.
then. Yeah.
So
And
when did you find iRacing, or how did you find iRacing?
yeah, so again, Cliff Notes version, a couple of buddies and me who all streamed or did content creation for MLB The Show, we joined together and we formed, it was at that time, it was kind of a stream team.
Okay.
And, just, we're all in each other's names, or we're all in each other's streams. So why not throw a name over a blanket or blanket over it? And, we'll put on some tournaments and have some fun and
Oh,
just be
cool.
kind of this team. It's like, okay. And one of our team members, he lives in Southern California, and he races Pro 2 trucks in real life.
Oh, no kidding. That's cool.
Yeah, he does like the point to point desert racing stuff like
Oh, I
that.
love that stuff.
And so he was getting into iRacing,
Yep.
and so being a racing fan, my outlet game, like when I would get too frustrated with MLB The Show, that I still needed to game, but I needed to just chill out.
Yep.
I would play the Formula One games. And
Okay.
I always told myself, like, I'm casual. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to buy a steering wheel. I'm never going to do this. I'm just casual, have fun with
Yep.
it. Never going to race online, anything like that.
And how long did that
So then,
attitude last?
I needed a game to play.
Yep.
And my buddy, Brandon, who does the desert trucks,
Mm-hmm.
he turned on his stream doing iRacing one night, and he had just gotten his wheel and his pedal set up and all
Yep.
that stuff. And I was looking at him like, man, that looks kind of fun. That looks really fun with the steering wheel and the pedals and everything.
Yep.
So the next day, we were kind of slow at work, and I got on Craigslist and I found a Thrustmaster T150, so the lowest of the low,
Yep.
but it was a start, and it was $50.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's like we
and
paid.
I talked him down to 40. And he drove. I told him I couldn't get to him this weekend because my wife at that time was working evenings.
Uh-huh.
And I had my two kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I think they were 4 and 1 at the time.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't get to you till this weekend. And it was midweek. And he's like, well, I can bring it down to you. I'm not really doing anything.
Wow.
And I called my wife and I said, I am going to this Casey's at this time. And if you don't hear from me, then I got Craigslist murdered. Because it was such a good deal. And it was like he's driving it to me to have it, but it turned out to be legit. The thing was in great condition.
Wow.
And I got to thinking about it. My buddy was getting on iRacing, and I'm like, I have this really nice PC that I built to do all my streaming stuff. I'm sure it'll run iRacing.
Cool.
And downloaded it and haven't looked back.
Yeah, it is so much fun, and I think we had a similar wheel. I've been in it for 6 years, and my youngest, who will be 21 in a couple weeks, he started I think when he was 13. So he's been
Sure.
on for like 8 years. And he saved up his allowance, and we bought it on Amazon or eBay or something. And it was one of those ones where you could basically, if you had a dining room table, you could clamp it to the table and run on a laptop. And that's
Yep.
kind of what he did. And then I started getting into it, like I said, about 6 years ago. And I got the Logitech G29 or G290 or something, which is good enough for me. because it was only the whole setup. I forget what I paid for it.
Right.
And we started out, and then I bought a open wheeler rig stand with the seat and the holders to put your pedals and steering wheel on. And we
Yep.
started by sitting on the floor with a laptop playing it. And then what do we do? I built a framework for it, and now it's a couple $1,000s later. It's still the same setup, but it's got Cheez-It fenders on it from Craig Biffle, the front and rear fender. Or
Oh, sure.
yep, and fancy lights all the way around, and 45-inch monitor, and we just upgraded to Alienware computer, I think, with a 2060 or 2080 processor. And as soon as they come out with that, we got that. Then so when they came out with the 3060 or 3080, and like you said, you never look back, and
Right.
it's just so much fun. But I remember when he was like 14, I get this email from iRacing. I'm like, what the heck is iRacing? I don't know what that is. You've been suspended for 30 days for crashing drivers. I'm like, what's going on here? So I said, they call him. I said, Sam, like you tell your kids when you want the answer and they know they're in trouble when they hear that. He's like,
Yep.
yeah. I says, I got a email from iRacing. Oh, the subscription's due already to rejoin? I says, no, I got kicked off for 30 days. What did you do? And then he said, oh, I was racing somebody and he started hollering at me because he found out I was only 12 or 13. So I wrecked him. I said, yeah, you got kicked off for 30 days, dude. Don't ever do it again. I said, go get your own credit card. I don't care if you got to forge it. You're not racing on my account anymore. So, and that's that. Um,
Yeah.
so your league, when did you start the league? As you said, that was last year also?
Yep. So I started the league pretty soon after I got on. So me and my partner at the firm, that was the name of our like stream team. We had kind of been looking to branch out into other games, and he's kind of like a silent partner slash financial backer kind of guy.
Gotcha.
And we've been looking to branch out in other games and to kind of take like a true run at creating, like, now it's kind of just turned into a race team, but a uh an esports org, for lack of a better term. And
Right.
so I told him, I'm like, we've got this opportunity, the teams are kind of big here on iRacing, or not necessarily big, but like there's an avenue here
Yeah.
that we could take. So we went and recruited some guys, and I started, like, how do you get your name out there? Well, let's put on a league. That's one way that we can get our name out there. And
Yep.
so we came up with some framework of the league, and our team member Ryan Fruget, sent me out of the blue, completely a message, and he's like, "Hey, I own this business. I'll throw some money at the league for you, and
Cool.
I'm like, wow, that's super generous of you, and
Yep.
I'll okay, let's do that, and you put up the amount that you said, and the team will match it, and we've got a prize pool, and away we go."
Cool deal.
And we were lucky to secure. I say lucky because Brett Wheeler and Ultimate Dirt TV have helped us a lot.
Yep. He's a good guy.
And unfortunately, our relationship with them, I don't know if it just ended, but it's just been put on pause. I know you and him talked about Matt Bailey getting a full-time job, and
Right.
unfortunately, Matt was the guy that was doing our league.
Okay.
And it's just not working out for them to continue with us for the rest of the season.
Sure.
But they very much helped us. We were able to grab, because I've always been into competitive gaming.
Yep.
I've never really been into the whole let's dumb it down for people to be competitive.
Sure.
And
I understand.
so I set out right away, right or wrong, to make it the toughest league out there. And
Good.
uh, at that time, Steve McMillian, who runs World of Thunder, Well, I think it's World of Thunder Esports League. It underwent kind of a name change. It's a Wotel, but it was World of Thunder then, which is by far the biggest dirt league on iRacing. They were running 410 sprints, and so I just reached out to him and like, hey, how'd you build this thing? What rules do you have that kind of the top guys like and all this stuff, and we were lucky enough to snag one pro in our first season.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was enough to get eyes on us.
Yeah.
And he got second in the first race and then went on to win all 9 races for the rest of the season.
Yep.
But we had eyes.
Right.
And we had a format that people seemed to like. We had rules that people seemed to like. And again, my philosophy on it, whether it be right or wrong, is these are our rules. You will abide by our rules no matter who you are.
Yep.
We will try and work with you the best we can.
Yeah.
But if our league doesn't work for you, go find another league.
No, so it sounds like you're after drivers like yourself, highly competitive, driven, and you want people that are going to fit that format.
Yes. Yep. And so because of our attitude towards the league and not really, in our format, season 2, we went from 1 pro and probably, I don't know, 20, 25 drivers ish. We kind of picked up a few as the season went on and people kind of saw our league, to about 10 pros.
No kidding.
And about 35 cars per night.
Yeah, I saw
in
that.
Season 2.
That's a good turnout. We're in season 3, and it took us to season 3 to get 20 to 25 cars to show up every week. What in the dirt racing there? What determines an iRacing pro? I know in like the Cup Series, there's what the NASCAR stuff. There's road to pro. What is it on the dirt end that qualifies you as a pro?
So right now they have, and it's actually going on right now. Every Monday night, they have the World of Outlaws, 410 sprint cars. They used to have, so that's a series that you can qualify for. And so they don't do like the NASCAR Road to Pro where you run the trucks and then you run the Xfinity and then you run the Contender Series or whatever it is, and then you can get into the Coke Series or whatever. They have just a qualifier series, so it's put up in the official races.
Yep, I've seen it.
It runs once a week, and I think this past season, there was like 10 splits of cars, which is pretty shocking for sprint cars. Generally, for an official, you'll get 2 splits, maybe 3 splits, even at the busy times. But there was 10 splits of cars, and then like the top 15 in points from the previous season, they stay in, and then the top 20 points guys from the qualifier series, they get in.
Okay.
And then they run, I think they run 9 weeks. And then like $25,000 prize pool. They used to do late models as well, but they haven't done those in probably right around a year now.
Gotcha.
So we don't know if they're going to do those after sprint cars or if it's just going to be sprint cars from here on out. Or a lot of people speculated that they would give one for the big block modifieds when they dropped about, what's it been, 6 months ago now that the big block modifieds came out?
Something like that. My son races a lot of the dirt. I'm more of an asphalt guy, but that sounds right.
Sure. But as of right now, it's just 410 sprint cars, sponsored by NOS and the World of Outlaws. And
cool.
Yeah, they're good. They're fast. Oh my gosh, they're fast.
Yeah, I was racing a couple of years back with one of the guys I raced with. He made it to the Road to Pros. I haven't seen him on lately since he's way up there. What type of I rating would a sprint car driver have to get into the World of Pros, just so I can compare it to my 1300 I rating?
Well, 1300 is not going to get you there.
Yeah, I know that. But, that's why I started our league, for the bottom splits.
think so. I would say probably the lowest guy that I know of, and there might be somebody lower. I'm not sure, but it's going to be about a 4,000 minimum. We'll give
Okay.
you a shot.
Right. Okay.
But I know, like Alex Bergeron, who I'm pretty sure has the highest dirt I rating. He's the 3-time defending champion of the World of Outlaw of the Pro Series. I think he's right around 9,400.
That's really good because I think the biggest guy on the asphalt is Ty Majeski, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure.
And he's like 90. He's up there around 98, 95 in that range. So yeah. So that it's interesting because some of the people I talk to with leagues are like, on your end, highly competitive, highly professional. And I was looking around, and Joe Sixpack Racing started out as a monthly money race. We would run once a week for 3 weeks. We'd run a teaser race or recruiting race to get people into the the once a week or once a month money race, and it was $100 in prize money between the first three. He won through three, and we had the same people showing up all the time. And then they said, "Hey, why don't we start a league?" And I wasn't not even interested in starting a league, but I kind of got drafted into it, and that was we just had our first anniversary, the 20th of November. So we started with
Okay.
the money races in the summer, and I, I'm competitive, but I'm competitive on a low end, if there's such a thing like that.
Right.
Running mostly fixed sets, and I was looking around for decent leagues for your a beer league, like your Sunday morning softball beer league. Guys that
Yep.
just want to get together, practice, and then race. And there really wasn't anything out there that wasn't rookie wreck fest, and
Right.
so that's why we started it, because everyone's like, oh, you get, because I'll still run pickup cup and carburetor cup, and it's so frustrating. You qualify well, and then 25 lap race, and then on lap 15 you get wrecked, and you've used up your quick repair, and you're done for the day. And it's because you put a lot of effort into it. You got to Number one, you got to get down there and turn your computer on, practice a bit, go through the qualifying, and even before the race starts, you're 20 minutes into it, and then you get wrecked on lap 5 or 10. So I said,
Yep.
I've had enough of this crap. So we
Yep.
started the league to get people that were serious about it, um, and wanted to have fun and be competitive without being either wrecked or having to, race in the officials with 5,000 and 6,000 I ratings. So that's why we did it. And there's leagues out there for everybody now, and that really really works well. What's your race format like? So,
So this season we're running. So we're averaging right now 46 cars per race
oh, that's
this
huge.
season. We're 5 weeks through,
Hmm.
and so our format is our lobby opens, track is closed upon entry, um, and then I'll do a driver's meeting about 7 minutes in.
Okay.
Just quick reminder of all the rules. We go over penalties from prior week, and then they'll practice for a few minutes. Then we do 2-lap lone qualifying. So you just
Okay.
go out on your own. We reset the track to 10% because, we have the track degradation.
Yep.
Reset the track to about 10%, and then we'll run 10-lap heat races. We generally have about 5 heat races per night.
Wow.
10-lap heats, depending on the track size and the feature size, either top 2 or top 3 out of the heats will transfer into the feature.
Got it. Okay.
And then the rest of the guys will go through multiple B mains. So
Hmm.
we have different constellations, but it's not like traditional sprint car racing where you start in the D main, then you transfer to the C, or you transfer to the B, and then
Right.
into the feature. Like if we have 3 constellations, they're essentially all a B main. And again, depending on the size of the feature, we'll run 12-lap constellation, which will the top however many need to fill in the field will make the feature.
Okay. And how many are
And
usually in the feature?
So for quarter mile tracks, we run 18 in the feature. 3/8 miles, we run 20 to 22, depending on the 3/8.
Sure.
And then on half mile tracks, we'll run 24 cars.
That's a good number. And how many laps are the mains?
Features are
The
40
features.
laps. Caution laps do not count.
Ah, okay. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those they're so much fun to drive. I've just got into because what we'll do is in between seasons we'll have just fun races. We took the summer off this year because it just got to be into June. Then I'm like, man, I don't want to be racing on Sunday afternoon when it's beautiful out. You know, I'd rather be fishing. So we started just messing around, and we started doing like some of the sprint cars. I'm like, wow, these are fun. They're a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun, and they are really frustrating.
Yes. There's somebody in the chat room here. It says, ask Josh if Dave Allen can get a provisional ... in advance.
He doesn't need a provisional. He's already paid the entry fee. He's more than welcome. He's already in the league.
Okay.
And all he needs to do is show up to Eldora tomorrow night.
Cool.
And try and make the feature.
Got it.
Dave Allen is a rookie on the Pro Series this year. So
okay.
We always, so far this season, we've had at least, I think the lowest number of pros that haven't made the feature have been, I think 4 was the least amount. So Don't let that be you, Dave.
And how many races do you run in your season?
We run a 12-week season with 2 drops.
Okay. Oh, he says he says, LOL, no, I mean into the feature. So he wants a provisional into the feature.
Well, I don't know about that. He did, if I remember right. Actually, I don't think he did. I thought Dave made the feature in the Pro Series race this last Monday at Bristol, but I could be mistaken.
Okay.
He's got the talent to make the feature.
Okay. Yeah, he didn't ask me to give it to him, so I'm not. So how many weeks do you run for the season?
We run 12 weeks, and then we score 10 weeks, so you have 2 drops.
Yep.
This season is a little convoluted because we're running through the holidays. So like we run every Thursday night, so we didn't run last week.
Right.
And then we'll race 3 weeks, and then we'll take 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's.
Okay.
And then we'll finish up. I believe the end of our season is January 27th, I believe.
Okay. So on the 2 drops, is that the driver can pick the 2 races he doesn't want to count, or is that 2 races they can miss?
It's lowest point total. So either so they can miss 2 races, or let's say you have a bad night and you catch a right rear from somebody in the heat, and then and the consolation, and you don't make a feature, you didn't score any points. Then that will automatically drop off, and it's the drivers cannot choose. Iracing just takes their 2 lowest point totals and drops it off.
Oh, so Iracing does that.
Yeah, we have Iracing keep track of all of our points. Yeah, and you can select drop weeks in Iracing.
Oh, okay. On the dirt side, I don't think you can do that on our side. I haven't seen that because I was doing for the first 2 seasons in trucks and the NASCAR, our Cup Series. I was downloading it into Excel and spending hours doing all the computations, and then we had something called what we called a driver rating. Which basically took somehow it took where you finished and then deducted a quarter point for each incident you had, just so drivers can see, it's like a quarterback rating or something like that. And then I was messing around and I said, see, this is how technically challenged I am. I'm messing around in iRacing. What's this points thing? What's this league thing? I'm like, I didn't know they could do that. So we used regular NASCAR scoring season 2, and this year just to mix it up a bit and get some extra points, we're using the ARCA scoring, and it's worked out great. because now 20 minutes after the race, I can post all the points because we race on Sunday, and then I'd get done with the race on Sunday and then go out and, do whatever, and then go do my garden job, my garden design, lawn care on Monday, and then come home totally exhausted because it's, getting spring or summer and I'm working really hard and I'm pushing 60, so I'm not 20 years old anymore. But I work, I think I can work like I'm 20 until 5 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And then somebody's on Discord, or, hey, you got the points done yet? And I'm like, don't even ask about points. So I was so lucky to discover that it was on there to like that. So yeah, we allow drivers to miss 2 races, and what they do is they get their average points so far per race, and then a deduction of 5, because we started seeing when we went to road courses, which we have a couple in our 13 weeks, all of a sudden, when you get a bunch of people who don't like road courses, they're all asking for absentee points. We eliminated that on the road courses this year, but so we just take their average points and knock 5 off. So it kind of hurts if you miss a race, and we'll give you a pass if you've got a legitimate reason. Like, a couple of our guys are up in New Hampshire and Maine, and they work for their towns or the state plowing snow.
Sure.
So I'm like,
sure.
I'm not going to dock your points for that. I said, I'll check your weather report, such like that. Requirements to join your league. How do you do recruiting? Do you have a safety rating number, an I rating number, or how does somebody qualify to get in?
They contact me and pay $10.
Oh, really?
It's open for everybody.
Okay.
It's not limited to anything, but I just warn people that, if it's somebody I haven't, that I don't know of, and the dirt community is pretty tight.
Yep.
So a lot of the people I know, but if it's somebody I haven't run across before, or if something like this, I'll just explain to them, like, look, this is a hyper competitive league. The fact that I've never heard of you, like, I don't want to assume anything,
right?
But your chances to win or podium are going to be slim.
Yep.
Since I haven't heard of you.
Okay.
Especially this season, because this season we made a very good tactical move, and we're actually following the Pro Series schedule. So we're giving them a practice night, essentially 3 nights or 4 nights before they do the real pro race.
That's good marketing.
So we actually have 26 pros paid into our league this year.
No kidding.
For this season. Yeah. We had our last race was at Kokomo, which is a 1/4-mile bull ring. So we ran 18 cars, and I think 2 of the drivers had never had a pro license. 14 of them currently did. 2 of them didn't currently, but have in the past, and 2 guys have never held a pro license in the entire feature.
So it's only $10 to get in?
$10 to get in, and that's just I hope to alleviate that someday, but it's just, there's costs involved with the league.
Oh,
and
sure.
It's just kind of to offset some of that stuff. Right now we don't have enough sponsorship to completely offset the financial burden, so it's a $10 league.
That's reasonable.
We do have a 360 league that runs every Wednesday, that I created that's aimed towards development, essentially for guys. It's a 2,500 I rating cap.
Okay.
It's aimed towards guys that, like, you can come race Apex if you want, but here I'll give you a chance to be competitive here. And it's really aimed at developing cars to race clean, race fast, and get ready to race with the guys in the 410s on Thursdays. But that one's free with a 2,500 I rating cap. But for Apex, we have I think our prize pool this season is $1,350 total. And then, there's broadcast fees and stuff like that. So we just use it to offset. But
cool. And who are you using for broadcasting right now?
So we've been using Ultimate Dirt TV up until our last race. And then I was going to use, I went about it a little bit differently. So, Brett came to me and said, Matt got a job. Like I can cover the next week, but after that, I'm not sure what we can cover. And I'm just like, hey man, just don't be offended, but I need to have this league broadcasted. Like this
Exactly.
is a popular league.
Yeah.
Apex is I don't want to toot my own horn, but if you talk to people, say something in dirt and say Apex, they know what league you're talking about.
Sure. Good for you.
And yeah, I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but
no,
that's
what we're here for. This is why I do the podcast. It started out as just a weekly report for everybody in the league because not everybody had access or was on our Facebook page, and then I started interviewing and had some guests come on. I'm like, hey, anybody out there in the sim racing world, you got a story to tell? Let's do it here.
Yeah, it's a great outlet, and I mean, there's such just quick side note. Like the one thing that blew my mind about iRacing is how many ways there are to get involved.
Yes.
Like you can race, you can do car paints, you can do broadcasts, you can do helmet paints, you can do. I mean, so many different ways to get involved in, and just any way that you can expand that reach is good.
Definitely.
And so, anyways, back to my broadcast story. Apologize.
Oh, yes, sorry. No, I interrupted you.
So I told Brett, I'm like, I need to have this thing broadcast. Do you mind if I try and secure other broadcasting for the league? And he's like, no, I would encourage you to do so. And, I didn't want to step any toes. Like I said, sure. I think Brett had a major hand in our success. Yep. And he's become a friend. And I don't, I'm very loyal to my friends. I don't like to, even though it was kind of a mutual parting, I don't like to. I don't feel right paying this guy when I should be paying Brett. I don't like that. So, but I did. I went on Facebook, all the iRacing groups, and said, "Hey, I need I need a broadcaster." And just out of the blue, I decided to post it in. I can't remember specifically what group it was, but it's a real world sprint car group.
Okay.
It doesn't have a lot of iRacing on it. Yep. Every now and then you'll see something, but it's real world. And that group replies outnumbered all of the iRacing group replies like 3-1.
No kidding.
And all these guys were saying, you should use this guy, and you should use this guy, and this guy would be perfect for that.
Cool.
And so I got this idea in my head, and I'm like, you know what I could do, I could kind of put my own broadcast together. I could find somebody to produce it, and I could get these real world guys to come in and call the race. It's the off season for them, so it gives them a chance to stay sharp.
Yep.
And if they want to practice, they can. And it also, I don't know of anybody else that's doing this. There's a few real world guys out there that are calling for different companies. Like I know Brett mentioned Jerry Van Sickle. He's right here in Central Iowa. He calls it Boone. He calls it Huset's. So and there's a few others that I know of, but I don't think there's anybody out there that has a team of all real world guys.
And so no, not that I've heard of.
I came up with 3 names or 3 people that I was able to lock down. Robert Wojcik, who called at Port Royal for a while and now works for, I'm going to screw this up, but I'm pretty sure he works for Ultimate Racing Network now. And he's from Pennsylvania, who thinks they're big in sprint cars, but everybody knows that Knoxville is the sprint car capital of the world.
There's a lot of dirt tracks in Pennsylvania, though.
You know what? I will click out of this chat right now. Knoxville is the sprint car capital of the world.
Okay, no, that's fine. Hey, I wasn't contending that. I'm just saying there's a lot of dirt tracks in Pennsylvania. I know Knoxville's,
and they have a lot of quality tracks. It's just kind of a friendly rivalry between Pennsylvania posse and Iowa and Central, the Midwest sprint car racing.
Oh, I know the rivalry. That's why I threw that in there.
Oh yeah. And so he called it Port Royal, which, big Pennsylvania track, right there in the thick of everything. And then I got Dan Taylor, who is the weekly caller at Eagle Raceway, just outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. And then I got a young kid named Drake York, who I think he's like 15 or 16,
No
but
kidding.
he's really up and coming, and he actually works for USAC.
Oh,
And
that's
if you're a
cool.
dirt fan out there and you've watched the Hangtown 100 or the races in Ventura, California, the last couple weekends, he was actually the pit reporter on Flow Racing.
No kidding.
So yeah, so he's somebody that I'm really excited about having on.
Well, that's cool.
And then I had found this brand new broadcast company. I had them do kind of a little audition on our 360 league.
Yep.
And they did fine. And I'm like, hey, here's what I have. But if you'd like to do it, it's yours. And I figured, I could help you guys out. We're going to bring some viewers. You're just getting started. And they kind of started the same way you did with the podcast, where it just kind of became, it started out about their league.
Yep.
And then they just decided, like, hey, I can branch out from this.
Cool.
And yesterday, they told me that they weren't going to do it anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that being said, we're keeping the same broadcasters, but Brett was able to come in the clutch for us, and Ultimate Dirt Television is going to broadcast us tomorrow night. And then from then on going forward, OSRN or the OSR network will be picking up our races with those broadcasters for the remainder of this season.
Cool. I think I had OSR on here a couple weeks ago.
I'm looking at your Discord right now, and he is in here, so
Yep.
I think so
Okay.
as well.
Yeah. It's small world, isn't it?
Very much so, especially on the dirt side.
Yep. I had some guys in a couple weeks ago, and this guy, he comes on, and it was from Eagle Creek or something Eagle Racing. He comes on, and I said, Southern boy? He goes, yeah. I go, Georgia? He said, yeah, how'd you know? And I says, well, I used to spend summers near Augusta, Georgia. And he says, well, I got family there. So I said, oh, you ever been to the drag strip in Jackson, South Carolina? Yeah, I know right where it is. And it's funny because he's 26. He's teaching science at the high school he graduated in 8 years ago. I mean, it was a perfect small town story. We started talking about Jackson and Aiken, the whole area down there, and he knew exactly every street I was talking about in every town, and it was really cool. So it is a small world on the racing side for sure.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah.
We had a similar situation. We had a broadcaster last year because we started broadcasting for the first time, and the guy was really good. And then all of a sudden, I'm hearing that after the race, somebody said, "Did you know that the guy actually got up twice during the race and took a break and basically left, whether it was a potty break or a beer break? He just walked away." And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me!" So we parted ways with him. And we had someone this year that was really, really good and just pops in one day and he says, well, I won't be here next 2 weeks. Like, you got to be kidding me. And was saying that I'll be gone Thanksgiving week too. And then he pops in our Discord on Saturday and says, great to be back. I'm like, oh, okay, because I already secured another broadcaster, and I'm not going to tell this person no for Sunday because they filled in when this other guy couldn't make it.
Right.
And then an hour before the race, the guy who showed up on Saturday, hey, great to be back, says, oh, I'm celebrating Thanksgiving today. I can't do the after race interviews. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So then found out that there was somebody else broadcasting. He goes, well, that's really disrespectful. I wouldn't have wasted my time. I said, what do you mean? You got paid. You're doing it. You're getting whatever Twitch royalties that you get. So, what's the problem? We didn't have an exclusive. And I told him, I said, you missed half our season. I said, I understand you got stuff going on, but just to, and he's got other people that work with him and never offered up anybody. And we got these other guys. I said, hey, we're in a pinch because I've got probably 5 or 6 drivers who have a bunch of family members that watch every Sunday. They get a kick out of it. And I said, I got to have a broadcaster. So they showed up and I said, I want you to finish the season. Even if this other one shows up, I said, I don't mind having two. I pay for it. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So we got them for season 4 next year, and it worked out great. Because a lot of the reasons the guys show up on Sundays for the camaraderie, and it's an ego boost when you can go back and show your family the race, or give the link to a guy at work and he watches it, and then you finish first, second, or third. You go up there on the podium with the guy and you do the talk and get interviewed. Because it's kind of cool to do that.
It is fun, and it is a lot of fun watching back what you'll do. So like, just for instance, right now I'm an electrician by trade.
Okay.
And so right now I'm on a slower project. So, like tomorrow, for an hour out of my day, or however long we go on, this will be my entertainment. Pop my headphones in, listen, hear how I sounded. And then Friday, I'll go back and I'll watch / listen to our race the night before, or if I'm in another league's race or something. It is a lot of fun.
It is. It's really cool.
And it's, I think, one thing that really got me that, like, okay, this is actually really cool is, so my dad, who, he got me into racing, and he's a great guy. I love my dad to death. But my dad is very much a, why do you waste time on video games guy.
Yep.
Grew up on a farm in Iowa, I mean, all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I showed it to him one time, and then I was showing him like one of my league races that was broadcast, and like he literally would not give me my phone back. Like he was watching the race. And I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And that, that was like within the first 4 weeks that I had done it. And I'm like, okay, this is cool.
It was so funny when they were the NASCAR guys were doing iRacing instead, because the NASCAR races were shut down for a while for COVID.
Yep.
And it was so strange watching them. I said, I wonder if these guys they're doing a really good job on the broadcasting, but I wonder if they're saying under their breath, I'm narrating a cartoon race, because that's what it kind of looked like on TV. But then you get into it, and you can't tell the difference sometimes, because if it's a good race. But it was just so funny watching iRacing on the big screen upstairs in the living room with surround sound. It was crazy.
Though they say that, and they're like, yeah, I'm calling a video game.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, okay, they're not technically 100%, and I can say that for the sprint cars. Like, the sprint cars are a lot closer after this last update, and they're actually in a really, really good place right now.
Good.
But before that update, like, one of the most unrealistic things you would do is, on a setup in a sprint car, the first thing you would do is you take the front end and you just jack it all the way up, which in real life, you would never, ever do that.
Okay.
But you're behind the wheel of that car, and yes, you're in your basement or wherever you're at. But like with me, I'm in VR. I feel like I'm in the car.
Oh, I haven't done VR yet.
Yeah, so I'm in VR, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'm really on my computer, and I'm not going to get hurt, and it's not going to cost me any money when I pile this thing in the wall. But other than that, what's the difference?
Yeah, I could see that. I was amazed the first couple times I was doing dirt after they came out with it. How, I mean, to me, not being a dirt racer, just going to dirt tracks and watching the change in the track after the cars go around a couple laps, I'm like, wow, that is a feat of engineering.
Yep. It is, and it's not quite dialed in yet. And I'm not sure the stuff that the things that are complained about now as far as track state goes on the dirt side. Can you even simulate it with computer code? Is where I'm at right now. Like, it's so nitpicky.
Yeah.
But it's there. Yeah, it's very good, and it's very realistic. Their pre-gen tracks need some work. So like, if you wanted to take a track and pre-generate it to like 30%, 40%, 10% or less, you're usually pretty safe. But if you were
Yeah.
to pre-gen to like 30 to 40, it's not very good.
Cool. Yeah.
But it is, and I mean, it makes for fun racing over the course of the night. Like you
It
need
does.
to adjust.
Yep.
You know, you need to run different lines. You need to find different lines, and it's so much fun. You know, the first 3 seasons of Apex, I raced it. I wasn't an admin. I won't allow my admins to race. I have a team of 3 admins. They're all guys on my team. I will not allow them to race. I don't think that's right that your admin's in the race. But anyways, so I raced the first 3 seasons because I'm like, well, I'll just admin, you know. And then one of my teammates was like, no, you put so much work into this, you're going to race it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
And this season, I ended up we swapped out, and I'm actually the head admin this season for it. And uh, I said to one of the guys, it was either this last race or the race before, it's like, I am so happy I'm not racing this league this year. And it's not because it's so competitive that I would never be competitive, which I wouldn't. I wouldn't even make a fee. I'm okay. I'm fairly quick, you might call me.
Yep.
But I wouldn't even sniff a feature the way the league is right now.
Wow.
But beyond that, it is so much fun to watch these guys run.
That's
and
cool.
to watch them search for lines and watch the track slick off and try different lines and try and get around each other. And it's just so much fun to watch those guys do it.
Yep. You watch the Chili Bowl when's that? January?
Yeah. Yep. It'll end in January, beginning of February, somewhere in there, I think.
Yep. That's always fun to watch.
Yes. And they have another indoor race that's, I believe, started tonight, the Gateway Dirt Nationals.
Okay.
That's really popular.
Cool. So briefly talking about your management structure there. So you got 3 admins that run the league. Anybody else involved, or?
No, it's really kind of like I kind of spearheaded the project because I'm kind of the figurehead of our team, but it's really is a team effort.
Sure.
Like our whole team has really pitched in and helped out, and so the other 2 admins with me are teammates of mine. And then we try and get 3. Sometimes it doesn't work, or sometimes one guy can't be there, and so I'll go out and there's a girl, Tia Moppert. She's helped us out a couple times. She's an amazing admin. Understands the dirt racing, understands side. Well, I mean, her boyfriend is a world champion iRacer, so she should.
Oh, no kidding.
She does a great job adminning. So, I mean, but yeah, we always have a head admin, and he's the only guy that talks. And I like him to stay, the same guy throughout the year. But then, like, if a guy comes and says, hey, I want to race this league next season, or I want to, like, cool, do it. We'll find somebody.
Yeah,
somebody
works.
will do it. And if nobody volunteers, I'll do it. It's So, we always try and have 3. We have somebody watch the front of the field, the middle of the field, and the back of the field. And then when there is a wreck, 2 of the guys go and review it, and the other guy stays live so he can extend cautions if he needs to, or answer questions the drivers have, or anything like that. And then we hand our penalty and we go racing.
Cool. And point structure, how does that work?
So heat races score points. 8 points for first place. Lose 1 point down for third, or for every position. Okay. And then feature races score points. I can't remember the exact point total it is, but I think it's like 75 points for a win.
Okay.
Then I think it's like 4 points below for second, 3 points for third, something like that. So
got it. Well, sounds like you got your act together there.
We're trying. There's always something. That's the one thing that,
and they're always
that I've finally. It took me till the middle of season 3 to figure out. And I've dealt with it a little bit this season too. There's always going to be something, because first season we had some things, and it's like, okay, it's all right. It's our first season. We'll get it figured out. Second season, we had some different things come up, and it's like, well, we've learned from the first, we'll learn in the second season. By midway through the third season, I'm like, what? I'm just never going to make everybody happy.
No, you can't.
And then by this season, I'm just like, you know what? this is my league. You can run it. You cannot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would love to have you here, but it's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't come.
Exactly.
And this is how we run it. And I'm going to make a decision. Somebody's going to be happy. Somebody's going to be mad.
Yep.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's kind of the way we run. We say short on rules, long on fun. I think we have our rule book is maybe 18 rules, and a lot of it's just the normal nonsense. You got to show up, you got to qualify, you got to have a number on here, you got to do this, you got to do that, and you go racing. And when you see somebody pushing the envelope a little too far, we're like, okay, admins, what do you think we should do? We just had a situation a couple weeks ago, and like, well, I think we need a rule on that, because what's happening here is stopping other people from being able to do what they're supposed to do. So like, all right, so, and like you said, it's always evolving. And same thing here. Third season has probably been our smoothest, and it's my league, and the admins are, they wanted to do a competition caution this year on the cup side, and I'm like, no, because I can't stand competition cautions in NASCAR. I think it's a joke. They already have the 3 stages. You mean to tell me they're a bunch of big boys and you got to have a competition caution so they can adjust their cars? I don't see anybody calling an official timeout in a baseball game when it's 95 degrees, or a football game when it's freezing rain, other than the allotted timeouts. You don't sit there and call a timeout so you can go warm your hands over a fire. But they talked me into it, because they said, no, it's not like that. It's one chance during the race for the back runners or someone that got wrecked, and it's one chance for them to catch up and stay fun in the league, because that's what it's all about. And I said, all right, you guys talk me into it. And every once in a while, someone will just mouth off a little too much. Like in our truck league last year, season 2 on trucks, we ran them all on dirt, and it was a blast. But we had to come up with some pretty funky setups, because a lot of they don't have truck settings for certain track on dirt that NASCAR trucks don't run on. Right. So we came up with one that was pretty decent, but there was a issue with Bristol last year where you tried to run on it, and the setup for trucks and the setup for cup cars weren't working. So we had one that we were running practice all week for the truck league on Bristol dirt, and then come race day, some snafu with iRacing, that setup wouldn't work. So we had to switch it to baseline, and everybody in the race was on baseline. So you all racing the same truck, the same setup. It doesn't matter what you practice on yesterday. And this one guy during the race, every lap, well, we need to close this session and reopen it with the proper setup, and he wouldn't stop. So I muted him, and he kept on during the race. And then he was PMing me on Facebook and on the Discord, and I had to get out Mr. Banhammer and just get rid of him. So
we're pretty heavy on we don't like a lot of chatter. Emotions run high. It's racing. Emotions have always ran high.
Yes.
It seems like every week, somebody's punching it out in the pits somewhere, and that's fine. We want that level of competition.
Yeah.
We have the rule. So the only reason that we will clear black flags is for a pit road infraction.
Okay.
We give 1 quick repair per race.
Yep.
And I don't want to I don't want somebody who got some damage to just be done, so go get 1 quick repair, you get 1 shot at it. Well, in dirt racing, you don't have a lot of time to get on and off a pit road without, to get ready to go.
Yeah.
And there's certain tracks where it is just not safe to exit pit road under green flag conditions. So we literally close the exit of pit road under green flag conditions. So our thing is I made the rule that, and I explained it to him, I think like twice at the beginning of the season, where the only reason we'll clear a black flag, other than like an iRacing scoring glitch or something like that, is for entering a closed pit. I won't clear it for speeding on pit road. I won't clear it for exiting a closed pit.
Yep.
So the intention behind that rule was to get guys on a pit road, enter the closed pit, speed, exit the closed pit, and then ask me for that black clear.
Got it.
That way we can get all pit road infractions. But if you get too mouthy on the mic, I'll give you like one warning. Like, and I have no problem with somebody coming on and saying, "Hey, sorry, I got into you. Hey, sorry, just quick on, off, whatever."
Right.
But two guys, I'll give them one warning. Like, okay, that's enough, done. And if they continue, they get muted for the rest of the night.
Yep.
And then if they need that black clear, sorry, your chat's muted. I can't hear you.
SOL. Yeah, we've got. Yeah, like you said, it's emotions running high. It's testosterone city. Because when you're in your car and you're driving around the track, whether you're on dirt or asphalt, and somebody hits you or you hit somebody else, it's not your fault. You can't tell if it's your fault half the time.
Right.
So we got to roll, and it's like this. Of course, apologize. That's always accepted. You get to call the guy a dumbass once. He gets to call you a dumbass once. Then you take it private. If you start calling each other dumbass a second time, you get muted, and then we watch you for aggressive driving, and then we throw you out of the race or disqualify you.
Yep. You're nicer than I am because I won't even let them take it private.
Okay.
Yeah, I tell them, I'm like, there's no abuse of admins or other drivers. I go, this includes PMs. So if you PM somebody on Discord and call them something nasty, and they send me a screenshot of it, you're gonna face discipline. And it's, to me, I don't care if people like each other and hang out on the weekends and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah.
But you're all in this league. You're all running as hard as you can.
Yep.
There is literally nothing that is intentional. And if there is, trust me, the admins are going to find it.
Oh, yeah.
And that dude's going to be gone.
Yep. We had a sponsor do that last year right in one of the races. The guy did some really cool designs. And it was, I forget what track it was, but he started going off on somebody when the wreck was his fault, and he starts dropping F-bombs and this and that. And I said, dude, your name is on this race. Either knock it off or be gone. F you, gone. So then he went on our broadcaster's chat and started in. So the broadcaster threw him off. And then we just banned him from the league right then. I'm like, I said, wow, this guy just put up $50 to have his name put on the race, and this is how he's going to act. So we got rid of him. So
I can't even imagine.
Oh, I kept his $50.
Oh no, I definitely would have. But I just can't, because see, the reason I won't let my drivers do that is because, so we have three, because two of them are the same person, but we have call it three major sponsors on this league.
Mm-hmm.
We have Apex Auto Glass and Tinting. We have B&B Dirt Racing Simulators. We have Marzoff Incorporated. All three of those companies are real world companies. They're not companies here just on iRacing.
Right.
And we represent them as a league.
Exactly.
Like, they gave us money to represent them. So the last thing I need is somebody from our league getting on Discord, calling somebody every name in the book.
Yep.
And then that guy taking, you won't believe what happened to me in the Apex League on this guy's. And we talked about earlier, it's a small world.
Yes, it is.
So even though Apex Auto Glass and Tinting is an auto repair or an auto glass repair and tinting shop in, I believe he's in Northern California, but I know he's in California.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to hear something like that. And my teammate Ryan or my friend Brian or Shane, who own the other two companies, and those guys are the three owners of the three companies.
Yep.
That is their livelihood.
Sure.
That's their business. That's how they feed their family. That's how they pay their bills.
Yep.
Like, I will not let somebody on this jeopardize their livelihood.
No, that's
period.
Because you know what happens, and then did you hear what happened to me at Apex? And that'll get translated from a race to, did you hear what Apex Glass did to me?
Yep.
And
yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
And they blame
me. It gets through the grapevine, and the next week we're on broadcast and somebody comes into the chat like your sponsor did. This league sucks, and everybody yells at everybody and calls each other names, and then somebody that's looking at it like, oh, this is kind of fun,
Yeah.
And no, I'd never join that league now.
Look
at what they do.
We had one admin I had to kick out last year because he just started bitching the day of the race. We were going to Watkins Glen. And we said in the admins meeting, we're not going to have course-wide yellows at Watkins Glen because, number one, we're not dirt road track drivers. And you have a yellow flag at Watkins Glen, it's 5 minutes around each time. So you're gonna have 5 yellow flags in 35 minutes under caution? No. And he went on Discord and bitching and moaning about this and blowing up our Facebook page and da-da-da-da-da. So I said, you're done. I actually went so far as I shut down the Facebook page and the Discord and said, basically, guys, I'm taking a little vacation. So I didn't even show up the day of the race because we had the other admins run it because I was like, if this is going to go on, I'm not doing this. Because this time of year, I'm putting 20, 30 hours a week into the leagues because I have the time to do it. Yep. And every once in a while, he'll show up on one of the Iracing Facebook pages and you're looking for a league to join. And he'll go like, oh, anybody but Joe Sixpack. And then I get a bunch of drivers that go on there and says, no, Joe Sixpack's a great league. Greg does a great job. And, we were racing and we're expanding and we all love it. And this guy gets drowned out.
Yeah.
So, and this is like a year and a half later and he's still doing it. So like you said, small world and gets through the grapevine.
Yep.
So,
and the good leagues, like your league, like you found out, like as long as I run a tight ship, as long as you run a tight ship, as long as we give the product that people want, the few haters will get drowned out.
Yes. And that
but at the same time, if you allow it to go on, eventually there's one hater, then there's 2 haters, and there's 4 haters, and there's 8, and there's 16, and it's just...
Oh, and the other drivers don't like it. The other drivers don't like potty mouths. Like you said, you're a dumbass once, that's it. But if someone's going to keep it up, and then, I'll get done with the race, and then here's one of the complainers, oh, you're going to do something with this? I see, I'm going to do something about you. Goodbye, get off my league.
Yep.
So if anybody wants to join APAC's Auto Glass Sprint Championship presented by B&B Racing Simulators, how do they get in touch with you? When do you do recruiting? What's the nuts and bolts if someone wants to race with you?
So they can join at any time. If they want to join right now, like we're 6 races in, so you're not gonna factor in points this season. But we'll accept entries anytime. The Firm Motorsports on Facebook is our team page. You said my name. Reach out to me on Facebook. I'm fairly active in most of the iRacing groups.
Yep. See you out there quite a bit.
And then I'll get you a Discord link and we can get you in. But yeah, it's pretty simple, but I don't have like a website, unfortunately, or anything like that.
I don't.
We are in Discord, but
I think it's such a small world. I'm not doing any web pages for our leagues. You're on Discord and you're on Facebook, and you can just go and join on iRacing too, and ask to join the league.
Yep, and that's one thing too. Whenever somebody will join on iRacing, that I can tell they were just browsing through the league and they saw our league and decided, oh hey, I'll join. For the ABR Setup Shop 360s, which is that's our iRating cap development league. As long as they qualify, as long as they're under 2,500 iRating, they can join up. And that's just to clarify on that, in case there's anybody listening who wants to get in on that. Which that lobby opens in about 45 minutes. We're running at Eldora, so if you want to drive a 360 and you're under 2,500 iRating on dirt, let me know, and we'll get you in for tonight.
Very good.
But as long as they qualify, we'll accept them, and then they only have to race their first race at 2,500. Just because I don't feel right holding people down that are close for 12 weeks.
Yep.
So as long as you run your first race at or below 2,500, if you go beyond that and you get up over 3,000, stuff like that, that's fine. You can finish the season out.
Yeah.
All of our prizes for that league are aimed towards development. So instead of just giving out cash, the top 3 in points all get free entry into the next season of Apex.
Cool.
And then first place in points gets 2 hours of coaching with Alex Bergeron.
Oh, no kidding.
Cool. Yep. So ABR Setup Shop, which is Alex Bergeron Racing, his setup shop that he runs, he's a big sponsor of our team. And so that's we do things hand in hand with him. And if you're going to get coached in a sprint car, why would you not have the 9,300 iRating, 3-time defending World of Outlaw champion coach you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, 2 hours worth of coaching with Alex. Second place in points is an hour worth of coaching from Alex. And third place is an entire season's worth of setups from ABR Setup Shop.
Oh, that is awesome.
So everything aimed towards development. And then Apex, we pay cash for that. But anytime you want to hit me up on Facebook, Josh Van Maanen, my personal page, or like I said, I post pretty regularly around a lot of the iRacing groups. I mean, I'm sure you've seen me on there at some point.
Sure have, yep.
I believe, if you're listening to this podcast, obviously I'm sure they've seen one of your Facebook posts. You actually tagged me in the one for this episode, so just click on that, send me a message, and
great,
and we'll get you in. So,
well, Josh, that was a ton of information. So I want to thank you for stopping out tonight and taking time out of your night and letting us know what's going on the dirt side there. And like I said, I'll be putting this up on YouTube later and then spreading the links around. So it's out there if anybody wants to hear it. Like I said, it'll be up here on Twitch for 2 weeks before they take it down. And then it'll be up on YouTube forever. And then on Anchor, Spotify, and Stitcher for the podcast, for the audio. So I want to thank you for stopping by. Like I said, a lot of information. Good luck with the rest of your season there. And like I said, a lot of good stuff going on. You got a lot of pros racing for you there. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Like I said, anything like this, not only is it fun, not only is this a hobby of ours that most of us wish we could do more or had more things, but I mean, it is good information, and it's good. Like for me, I've listened to a couple of your past podcasts recently, and I don't get over to the asphalt oval side that often. So there's a lot of good information there for me.
Cool.
And it's fun to listen to. It very much is. So thank you for having me. It was an honor to be on here, and keep going with this thing, man. This is awesome.
Will. Great. Thanks for stopping in. We'll maybe catch up next spring or something like that and see how the leagues are going there if you'd be interested in coming back on.
Absolutely. Reach out to me anytime, sir.
Will do. Have yourself a good night and happy holidays.
Thank you. You as well.
Yeah, bye-bye. It was Josh Van Maanen from the Apex Glass Sprint Car Championship, presented by B&B Racing Simulators. And like you said, if you want to join the leagues, they have a development league for under 2,500. They got a race going on in about 45 minutes. So give them a holler on Facebook if you want to join that race. And also if you want to join the Apex Racing League, get in touch with Josh. Like I said, they're about halfway through their season or a little longer, but you can find out what you're up against. And I know that one thing, I wouldn't stand half a chance there because they sound like got some really good racers. But if you want to have fun and learn how to drive, watch their broadcast and see how the pros do it. It's got some good stuff going on there, and they just started a year ago. Definitely some good stuff going on there. So thanks again, Josh, and we look forward to talking to you again sometime. Thanks for stopping by. It was a great talk. I want to mention the Joe Six-Pack Racing merch shop with that fantastic 4-inch ceramic tree ornament and the throw pillow. You can throw it at your cats when they try to climb up that tree to knock down that ornament. You got cats, you can't put an ornament high enough in a tree to keep them out of it. 177 other items, standard drinkware, reusable shopping bags, gym bags, t-shirts, hoodies, maternity wear, men's and women's pajamas, pillows, throw rugs, shower curtains, you name it. It's on there. And it's only on there because Cafe Press makes it so easy. You just put up a logo and you say, put it on everything. Find the Joe Six-Pack Racing merch shop at cafepress.com/Joe Six-Pack Racing League. We're not getting rich off it. Cafe Press is. We get $3 for every item that sells. We could have charged a lot more, but nah. Just to help us offset some of the broadcasting fees and race time on iRacing. And if enough people buy enough stuff, then we will return that in prizes for the season. Joe Six-Pack Racing merch shop, cafepress.com/Joe Six-Pack Racing League. Now on to week 11 in the Joe Six-Pack Racing League, as we have 2 races left, weeks 12 and 13. And we always throw in a monkey wrench near the last 3 races of the year. If it's a good points race, we'll throw in a really tight short track, or we'll go road course racing to kind of mess up the leaders a little bit and keep them on their toes. So we raced at Sonoma on Sunday, and like usual, I did terrible in that race, as I usually do on road courses, but I just love racing them so much. And I was so far off the track, not off the track, but off the track of the leaders. The broadcaster even came on and he says, I don't know what you're doing there, Greg. If you're going to win this race or be up front, you got to start making some moves. And I'm saying to myself, nope, I'm perfectly happy what I'm doing. I finished third a couple weeks ago, and that was a trip. First time being interviewed on the podium. And road courses and I don't get along, but I love racing them. So just staying out of everybody's way. It was 45 laps with a strength of field of 981. Normally on ovals, our strength of field is anywhere from 13 to 1400, so we don't have a lot of road course drivers there. Average lap time was pretty quick, 1 minute 21.444 seconds. Some of the best times that were run during practice during the week were 118, 119, so right around that 120 mark. And we had, I think our pole sitter just even blew himself away coming in slightly under 118. Season 4 recruiting for the Next Gen Cup Series at Joe Sixpack Racing begins the week of 12/12. We'll be running on 3 tracks. We'll run each track twice, and Season 4 starts January 9th on Sunday. And our first league that week is on January 4th, which is the Truck League on a Tuesday night. All our leagues, recruiting begins in a couple weeks, and we'll be posting all that information. The winner at Sonoma was our current points leader for the season, Dave Lomaga. Robert Tuiscu came in second. Keith Fonseca, a new driver with us this year, was third. Another new driver, Stephen Parker Hamilton, came in fourth. Josh Bromfield, our season 2 Trucks on Dirt winner, came in fifth. Anthony Garland, sixth. Johnny Barker, a new driver with us this year, finished seventh. Josh Benton, one of our original drivers from season 1, came in eighth. Jonathan Humphrey, who joined us in season 2, came in ninth. And one of our original drivers, Wayne Garland, Anthony's dad, came in 10th. And Wayne's driving has improved tremendously over the years he's been in. The joke was Anthony wanted dad to race with him, and dad says, I'm not going to get involved in that video game stuff. I'll race on Sundays, and that's it. And now all of a sudden he's one of the admins in the league, and he's a league manager for the Truck Series. So that was week 11 for the Next Gen Cup Series at Sonoma. And here's the points race right now after 11 weeks. Dave Lomaga is in first place with 449 points. He's really got to screw up in the next 2 races, or someone's got to do really, really well to catch him. However, you get down to second, third, and fourth place, there's only 2 points separating between P2 and P4. Josh Bromfield is in second with 411 points. John Humphrey is in third with 410. Anthony Garland in fourth with 409. Then there's a bit of a break back to fifth place with Keith Fonseca at 392 points. Sixth place, Robert Tuisco with 382. And yours truly in a points battle for seventh at 362. Johnny Barker right behind me with 358. Josh Benton in ninth place with 348. So any one of us 3 could be in 7th or 9th by the end of the season. And Wayne Garland in 10th place with 336 points. Hey, we got 52 followers. We're looking to climb the ladder to 60. So if you want to have a beer with Joe Sixpack, why don't you follow? It doesn't cost you anything. It might even earn me a nickel or 2 on affiliate status. I'd like to thank PTM Racing TV for picking up the last 4 races of our season and also being our broadcaster for season 4 coming up. PTM Racing TV. They also pedal to the metal racing leagues. You can catch them on Facebook. They're readily available, filled in for us, and they're doing a great job broadcasting. So check them out, PTM Racing TV. Week 12 in Next Gen Cup is at Chicagoland. Be a 75-lap race with a noon start. Have a competition caution at or around lap 30. Any yellow coming out between lap 25 and 29 will serve as the competition caution. Cutting back on the fuel a little bit, 50% fuel instead of our normal 60. 2 quick fixes, 2 green-white checkers, 2 tire changes, which means 3 sets total. Weather 75% humidity, 70 degrees. And practice this week will be tomorrow, December 2nd, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. It will be under-hosted with the usual password, which I will post on Discord. Full-length practice race Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, December 3rd. And again, under-hosted. Final practice on Saturday, December 4th from 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, also under-hosted. And our race Sunday, December 5th, 4 p.m. Eastern on PTM Racing TV, and that will be posted on our league page. And just go join. Proud to announce the Season 4 Next Gen Cup schedule, with recruiting beginning the week of 12/12. League managers, we've divided up our leagues. Each league has 2 managers. Myself and Dave Lamaga will be league managers for the Next Gen Cup Series. And we start on Sunday, January 9th. First race at Daytona will be daytime race with 80 laps. Then we'll hop down the other end of Florida at Homestead, 110 laps for a late afternoon, early evening race. So you can get the change of the track conditions, not only a couple lines to run at Homestead, you're going to have to race when the track cools off as you head to dark. Atlanta will be week 3, 100 laps daytime. Charlotte will be 120 laps at night. That's always a fun time at night at Charlotte. Then we go up to New Hampshire for 125 laps daytime. Watkins Glen. New Hampshire was an add-on because we dropped Darlington and put in New Hampshire. So we will be going back to New Hampshire. And hopefully it won't be a wreck fest like it was this year. So you guys have been warned. You've got about 6 weeks to get ready for New Hampshire 125 laps daytime race. Watkins Glen will be 45 laps, and that will be our Toontown theme. Your favorite cartoon character, advertising character, serial book character, comic book character. Throw them on there. It's always one of our fun races, some great paint schemes, and we'll be throwing out a prize for that as well. Week 7 will be Dover, 150 laps daytime race at the Monster Mile. Kentucky will be 90 laps daytime. Then we'll go to North Wilkesboro. New track coming out on iRacing. I think it's out now. 125 laps during the day. Talladega, week 10, 85 daytime. Martinsville, like we said, we like to throw in a monkey wrench near the end of the season, so that's our short track, 160 laps, late afternoon start, going into the evening with just 3 races left in the season. Final 2 will be Kansas, 75-lap daytime, and then off to Las Vegas for 100 laps with a late afternoon, early evening race, and that's the Next Gen Cup schedule for Season 4. First race is on Sunday, January 9th. Recruiting begins in about 2 weeks. Pick 'em up trucks for Season 4. Your league managers there are John Humphrey and Wayne Garland. Wayne was kind enough to join our admin team as well as be an admin for the truck season this year. He and John came up with a schedule. The managers pick their own schedules, run them by me. We tweak them a little bit, but pretty much they come up with the schedules on their own, and I want to thank league managers for doing that. It certainly makes my job a lot easier. Instead of having to come up with schedules for 5 leagues and all that, it's a tough nut to crack, and these guys are the nutcrackers. Recruiting season begins Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. Recruiting begins the week of 12/12. We're just finalizing the recruiting tracks and schedules for that, but probably 4 to 5 recruiting races, different tracks, different times for a wide net. We'll get some drivers for any of the Joe Six-Pack Racing Leagues. Maximum rating is 2,000. If you go over 2,000 during the season, we're not going to penalize you. You can still race. But if you get really good and you start hitting 3,000, you're probably not going to want to race with us anyway. So, and safety rating rookie 2.0 up to class A 4.0. And we not only check that, if you knock on our door to join, we look at those 2 numbers. Then I also look at your average incidents per race over your different seasons and your career. And if you get reasonable incident counts, we'll let you in. But if your numbers look too good, like a couple drivers about a month ago, they had fantastic numbers. They finished in the top 10, 30, 40% of the time, winning 15% of the races, but their incident counts were in the high teens, which to me means they're wrecking people to win, and that just does not float in our league. So Pick 'em Up Truck Season 4 begins January 4th at Dover. Week 2 is New Hampshire, then on to Kansas. Oran Park, we did that this year, ran the Grand Prix circuit. Great track to drive on any car. Done that in the Mazdas, done that in the Formula V. It's a lot of fun. Then off to Martinsville for a night race. Phoenix, Texas, Daytona, Las Vegas, Bristol at night, Watkins Glen. And again, 3 weeks to go in the season. Throw in another road course. Shake up the leaders, make them earn their stuff. Then off to Richmond in the final race in Atlanta. If you want to join the Joe Sixpack Pick 'em Up Trucks, you can look up Joe Sixpack Racing page on Facebook, or you can go right to Iracing, knock on the door of the Joe Sixpack Pick 'em Up Truck League, ask to join. We'll check out your numbers, and we'll either say yes, which most of the time we do, and then you're in. New league coming up for us in January is the Formula V. Great little car to drive. We ran that in one of the one-off races in our off-season. Everybody loved it, and I wanted to get a road course league under Joe Sixpack, and this one is it. And Josh Benton and Al Reed are the league managers there. Thank you guys so much. They're also on our admin team as well. All league managers are in the admin team. The week begins the week of January 3rd, 2022. It's going to be a Thursday night league, 7 p.m. start. Recruiting also begins the week of 12/12. I know I put here timed races, 45 to 60 minutes. We went back and forth. We may do a mix of that or put actual lap counts on them. So don't hold me to the timed races there. Week 1 will be Lime Rock, which is a great track. I work over there a couple times a season. I've driven my own vehicle on it. It's fun. It's fun to drive in person. It's fun to drive on iRacing. Then Laguna Seca on the West Coast. Great track. Could be a little tough, but it's a great track to drive Formula V. Then Pocono Legacy East, the New Hampshire Road Course. Summit Point Raceway. Week 6 will be Miami Road Course A. Week 7 will be Okayama Short. That's a tough track. That's a total technical track. Week 8 will be Lanier. Week 9, Charlotte Legends RC Medium. Week 10, Daytona, the short course. 11, Texas Legacy Road Course, the long length. Then week 12, Las Vegas, road course long. And then back for the final week, week 13 in late March, Lime Rock doing the Grand Prix. And that's the Formula V road course under Joe Sixpack. And again, if you want to join, the league isn't yet up on Facebook or iRacing. I got to create it, but you can stop by our Facebook page and ask to join that race as well. And we'll be putting all these schedules together and blasting them all over Facebook. And recruiting begins there in about 2 weeks. Legends League, of which Anthony Garland is the manager. A little bit different here. He works split schedule, so he never has the same Wednesday off. It's a Wednesday night league. He's got 1 week on, 1 week off. And he started the league this year. And to make it worthwhile and not just be a 6 or 7 race season, it's going to be on Monday nights this year. And the season will start on Monday night, January 10th. Recruiting will begin the week of 12/12. There's going to be 2 races each night. It's going to be a doubleheader. For instance, week 1 on January 10th will be Thompson Speedway, 40 laps. And then you go off to Langley for a 40-lap race there. This makes it so it's a 13, 14-week schedule, and you're not spending 3 months for a 6-race season. Week 2 will be January 24th at USA International for 40 laps. The Twilight double header game will be Lanier National Speedway 40 laps. Week 3 is February 7th, 40 laps at Bristol. And then the figure 8 at Irwindale, which we did with trucks and was an absolute blast. That'll be a 40-lap race. Week 4 on the 21st of February, Oxford 40 laps, then followed by Concord 40 laps. Week 5 is March 7th, South Boston 40 laps. And Southern National Motorsports Park will be the second race that night at 40 laps. Week 6, March 21st, Charlotte Legends 40 laps, followed by Martinsville at 40 laps. And the season ends there with week 7 on April 4th, New Hampshire Legends 40 laps, followed by Las Vegas Legends Oval at 40 laps. All 5 of our leagues will be ending about the same time. Late March, early April. So it's easy to get in, easy to get off. Then we'll start season 5 early May and finish up middle of June. And then we will be done for summer. We usually take about a month off after that. And again, check out these schedules right here. You can come back and visit this page on Twitch. It'll be up for 2 weeks. It'll be uploaded very shortly, permanently to YouTube. And all our recruiting for season 4 starts the week of 12/12. Once again, thanks, Josh Van Maanen, for stopping in for the Apex Auto Glass Sprint Car Championship, brought to you by B&B Dirt Car Racing Simulators. A lot of great information there. I'd like to have everybody stopping in between dirt and asphalt. Makes for a good conversation. And thanks, everybody, for listening. That's it, and we'll see you on the track. Have yourselves a good night.